Yo, what is good, everybody? Welcome back to another YouTube video. Welcome back to the game room. It's been a hot minute since I seen you guys, man. Y'all know I've been on Sparking Zero. We have a lot of content that I have for that. You know, that's the main game, the main thing. But it's time to take a little break from that. You know, time to take just a little branch off, So if that's not what you came here for, please click off this video. This is for the game room people who follow me, who followed me play other games. I definitely do play other games, so we're gonna be starting this back up. Doing this, so this is like my little welcome back / review for the game we're about to talk about. So now that we actually got that out the way, we have a Black Myth Wukong review. So this game came out back in August. It's a little late, but after playing it for some time, beating the game at least once, I have to say that this is definitely something that I'm going to come back to once everything is said and done. Black Myth Wukong is a game about the Journey to the West story, which was also taken, well, Dragon Ball was inspired by that from Akira Toriyama, may he rest in peace. But that game, the story is what this game revolves around. And not only do they take the story and retell it, or not even retell it, they kind of shift the perspective in a way to make you actually be one of the destined ones who isn't quite Sun Wukong. So what happens here is, you know, you become the destined one, and the destined one is one of Sun Wukong's relics or clones that he's made thousands of them at this point. But Wukong in the beginning, versus the battle of heaven and earth, or if you wanted the battle against 100 warriors or whatever, he beat, I forgot what the guy's name was, the guy with the eye on his head. He beat him, and in return, they decided to lock him in a stone for the reason that he basically was just immortal. He was a powerful warrior, and the gods and everything did not like that, and they kind of tried to exterminate his own people. So he kind of was defending himself, but he is that powerful, and they could not kill him, so they had to seal him away. With that being said, we have the Stone Monkey King being the term for everything, and then the old monkey guy sends off another version of Sun Wukong to basically go on a journey that Wukong went on to bring Wukong back. And that's where the story kind of starts. And so the destined one here is, he's basically, we start off as like a new version of Wukong where he's bare bones, has no abilities, has no skills or anything, and we have to kind of work our way up. And so how they retell this story is they go right back through what Sun Wukong went through, all the bosses, all 91 of them. I believe I beat about 70 something plus bosses, guys. These bosses were tough. This is probably still the toughest game I've played this year. Hands down, right there, up next to Final Fantasy VII, which has got to be the top. But one of the toughest games I played this year when it comes to the boss rush type of feel. It definitely is a boss rush game. It's perfect for the storytelling, because that's basically what Wukong was, the Journey to the West. It was like this big boss rush. Like, he was fighting so many powerful beings, and they all did have stories. And if you watch the story, if you listen, I want to actually ask you guys if you guys played the story in Chinese or English dub. But with that being said, that he goes through all of these entrances and what you call it, shrines. And so basically what you have to do is go through all these shrines, like checkpoints and stuff like that, going into these worlds, accessing different chapters, and each chapter has its own theme. Each chapter has its own theme full of bosses, and each of these bosses are unique in their own way. You have like the yellow long guy, who's probably one of the most hardest bosses in the game. You find him in chapter 4. Chapter 3, you have what was chapter 3? It wasn't the spiders and stuff. Was that chapter 3? I forget. Listen, some of these chapters get mixed up, but whichever one, chapter 3, I remember chapter 2 was like the sand, the rock sand and everything, and you have to fight the big rock boss and stuff. It's still a little blurry when it comes to I haven't played this in a minute, but definitely beat almost all 91 of those bosses. Still have to go back and go do them through New Game Plus. I believe I missed a few, but that is literally the overall consensus of the game. Like, you're running around exploring a little bit. That I hear that some people say it's linear. It does start off linear. I will say that it starts off very linear, but it opens up really nice. And so this is kind of like the backstory of everything. This is basically what the game is about, what the game encompasses, what I remember from the game and all that. So now we get on to the actual metrics of the game, the gameplay, the story, and everything like that. When it comes to gameplay, the combat is just butter. I can't think of another story-driven game that I played lately where the combat felt this good. What I mean by that is that you're starting to see a lot more games try to portray what the character is doing rather than just giving you cool moves to do, if that makes sense. The difference here being is that Black Myth Wukong allowed you to use the staff in a way that like resembled us actually being Song Wukong, twirling the staff, twirling it to dodge enemy attacks or bat them away. The dodge mechanic, the fact that you can't block actually kind of makes everything a bit harder. When you do dodge and perfect dodge, he leaves a clone. The cloud step, the abilities with the staff where you can use the pillar stance, which is one of my favorite stances, where you kind of just launch up and make it grow really high and slap them down with a powerful pole move. You have the actual smash stance, which gives you more variety in combos. You can chain them into combos to do a smash stance or whatever, the smash ground thing, whatever. All that encompasses into having a great feel and smooth combat. The bosses don't feel cheesy. Some of them do, but the bosses actually feel genuinely made to tailor their environment, and they use their environment really well. There are definitely some bosses. Again, I can't remember some of these names. I can remember pictures, and I know there was this one bat one that I played that might have been either chapter 3 or I would even say as far as chapter 5. I don't know. I get these chapters mixed up, but it was this bat one. There was this I can't forget. I remember Yellow Long specifically because that one took me forever. A lot of them though did take a couple tries, but it didn't take too much. I remember the shape shifting what you call it, pig, the one I forgot his name. That was kind of tough. The spider, oh my gosh, the spider. Those spiders. But anyway, so yeah, when we're getting onto that now, I'm actually going down memory lane here. The combat was fun, man. It was a journey. It just felt so good to get in the game and be like, all right, I gotta tackle this boss. Or even the rat guy in the beginning of chapter 2. I think he was one of the first bosses I had trouble with. Just getting on the game and knowing that, okay, hey, I gotta get ready for this boss. And I wasn't really doing too much with the bosses. I think I would do like 2 or 3 a day. I think I would try to beat 2 or 3 a day. If I couldn't beat one, I would try to beat a side boss or something like that. But with that being said, it was like that. It was that feeling that when I got on the game, I had something to do. You know what I'm saying? It was that feeling when I got on the game, I could make sure that I execute, what I needed to execute, to get what I needed out of the gameplay. Just pure boss rush combat. Everything about the magic, everything about the clones. I really do love the cloning effect. I forgot what it's called specifically, but when you change in or you take your hair out and change it to all those some Wukong clones or Destined One clones, it does a lot of damage. It takes a lot of mana though. With that being said though, when it comes to those technicalities, I do want to get into that. The mana, the stamina. The only issue I have is the mana. I feel like the mana just takes too much to use. Unless you like max it out, of course. And again, I haven't tried New Game Plus yet, so of course it's going to be higher and stuff like that. But the mana was just so tedious to get around. That was the only part where I guess I didn't like it, but just more so that I was like, dang, I really know I like using magic, so I like using my spells, but you got to conserve it. So I mean, obviously it's more of a story-driven action RPG type of thing. I wouldn't say action RPG, but just action game. And so with that being said, those downfalls are gonna be there, especially with stamina. Stamina was also really tough to get around, especially when you're dodging, because you only have dodging, so you can't block. So it's not like, and basically all your movement uses stamina. So it was kind of, you gotta really allow yourself to build that stamina back up so you can have better dodges, better timing and stuff like that. But yeah, aside from that, the gameplay and the combat is just stellar. It's just amazing it feels like I'm playing the Monkey King, or the Destin, whatever you want to call it. I've been calling him Song Wukong the whole game, but realizing that until the end, you don't really get there. With that being said, though, the story part of everything is what I want to get into next. This was a very enticing story. I did play this in Chinese, so I was reading subtitles and everything, but I did see how impactful this story was. And I could see how it is very popular in Chinese mythology. Again, they told it a little different, but when you hear the stories of the bosses, because when you get to these bosses, you don't just fight most of them. Some of them you do just get in there and fight, but it's not like you just, I find a boss and fight them. You fight them, and then you may get a few cutscenes telling a story or telling about what this boss is or why are you here, and then it may tie itself into the story that you're in about how whatever, or some of them may recall some Wukong and tell you some information about Wukong and his journeys, or how, oh yeah, this is what happened when I fought him, or something like that. It was really cool to see how they told the story in memory format, recalling from those bosses what they experienced, or even if that's not the case, because I, again, reading subtitles, I kind of could have I feel like I misinterpreted the story a little bit, especially the first time, because there's two endings. So I was like, okay, maybe I definitely got to go back and play this. But from the overall consensus, you basically going back on a journey that Sun Wukong went through. And some of these bosses do give their story. I remember one of them, one of the flame guys killing themselves, basically saying, he came in and took everything. Yeah. So it was really cool to see, and I really enjoyed how they took the story and really wanted you to feel like basically backtracking, kind of going through the journey of the West yourself. You know what I'm saying? Kind of seeing for yourself the journey of the West, not telling you and then making another mission, but kind of taking you back through that journey, but on a new level. You know what I'm saying? And I like what they did at the shrines, making sure you find each shrine, make sure you're getting a checkpoint, because once you find a shrine, you basically find a new area. And so that part really enhanced the story a bit, because you had so many different areas that you would go through, and it's like, dude, all these bosses, this dude went through like all these guys, like, you know what I'm saying? It's so many different, and the bosses are so diverse. It's such a variety full of bosses, such a variety full of different types of moves and setups. Some of them don't even use their hands. Some of them don't even have eyes or feet. You know what I'm saying? It's so unpredictable what you're gonna get yourself into when you get into these bosses. But once you do fight them, it was so satisfying to beat. That's why I say the story really enhances the gameplay. Because when you beat these bosses, you have something to fight for. You're not just fighting a boss and, okay, I beat him, cool. No, there's a story behind them. This boss has feelings. This boss has a mind of its own. This boss has went through something. What is it? And then you find it out. Some of them are bad. Some of them bosses are actually like, whoa, like, I'm just defending myself. You know what I'm saying? Dude came out of here and I'm just defending my territory. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it really, really, really made you kind of immerse yourself into the fight, not as well as into the story, because now you're fighting for something and you understand what the story is about, if that makes sense. With all that being said, I have not encountered any glitches or bugs or anything like that. With that being said, I think I've more so encountered maybe some like input delays or anything like that, but this is when the game first dropped, and it's definitely got its like first patch since then and all that good stuff. So I don't know if any of that's fixed, but from my experience, I think that's the smoothest launch of a game that I've had. I hadn't had no crashes, nothing or anything like that from what I can remember. And I got on literally every day and would play for hours. And so this really made me realize, like, again, or it made me not realize, but it brought back my love for story-driven games more. I was already playing them a lot more, but I was like, okay, I want to play some more Boss Rush. I made me want to turn back on games like Stellar Blade, Final Fantasy, stuff like that. Start playing like other multiplayer games and stuff like that. So yeah, Black Myth Wukong was special, and I don't want it to be forgotten, which is kind of why I wanted to wait a little bit, because Game of the Year is coming up, and I don't want this game to just fly under the radar. I mean, 3 million Steam concurrent players. I mean, that's just phenomenal. I don't want that to go under the radar at all. So I'm making sure, we keep Black Myth Wukong alive and everything like that. But that was really my review of the game. I loved it. The game is an overall 9 out of 10 in my opinion. That is an honest score. It could not have been any much better in my opinion. It definitely had its dull moments. It had some dull moments where, again, you do kind of see where the boss rush thing kind of is tedious, but it does open up, y'all. When you get to like chapter 4, bro, the map opens up so much. It's so much to do. So yeah, this game is definitely a 9 out of 10. It's literally at the top of my game list, along with other games that I should give you guys. I'm gonna make it a whole my Game of the Words tier list before Game of the Words drops in December. So if you guys enjoyed this not little review, but this is definitely the concrete review of Black Myth Wukong. If you guys enjoyed it and like what you see here and want to see more on the Game Room channel, please leave a like on this video. Subscribe if you're new. We can get on some more gaming content. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.